Okay, so today is Monday the 4th, April the 4th. If you haven't already, please put your first and last name on your packet. The work that's due this week, we have our warm up, of course, the homework, of course. We have our test on Friday, and we have a study guide, which is the homework. Put this in. Yeah, babe. No, it's on Canvas. All of the tests are on Canvas. Um, it's a school net test. Okay, so our tutoring this week is Wednesdays, virtual, 3 p.m., same time. These are our essential questions here. Today we're going to do the warm up. You should have already completed the warm up. You had time to do so. And then we're going to talk about word problems. So we're going to do some notes on quadratic word problems. But I do need to finish the sheet, axis of symmetry. I need to do that sheet first because I forgot I didn't finish that sheet. So let me finish. We're going to finish the axis of symmetry sheet first. Let's abbreviate AOS. And we need to paste that in our notebook. And then we'll do notes on word problems. Okay? And we're just going to do some guided practice with that today. All right? And I'm going to give you a lot of work on word problems this week to help us prepare for our test. What else, Miss Reyes? Homework tonight is the study guide. We're doing problems 1 through 8. Okay. Problems 1 through 8, and you need to make sure that you study notes. Okay. I am going to do a homework help video. I may not do, I want to see what you get with it on your own first before I do the video. I for sure will do a video on Tuesday, but I'm going to skip it today to see what you do on your own. We'll see how that goes. If it doesn't go well, then I'll go back and make the video. Any questions? Take out your planner, please. Was anybody still copying? Okay. Take your hat off, please, babe. Take your hat. All right. This is week. Please make sure you write this in April 4th through the 8th. That's this week. It's the week before spring break, y'all. Yeah, you should be excited. I'm excited. It's just to get a break. All right. Q4 week 2. Please make sure that you label it correctly. Where's your planner? Where's your planner? Where's the sheet? Didn't I give you or cut a sheet out for you? I gave you 2, so you should have one for last week and another one for this week. Okay. You need another sheet? Do you need another sheet? You're going to have to learn how to keep up with your stuff, okay? Here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on the front, and then the back is the other days, okay? Okay, let me write in pen. For this class, we have, don't forget to head it. Both sides. Let me make it bigger. So we got Math 1. We have our homework, which is the study guide. And we're doing study guide questions a little bit at a time. We're doing 1 through 8 tonight. I'm not going to make a video, see how you do on your own. Of course, put a check by the ones that are hard, but you still need to try them. And then I'll make a video for the next night. Okay? But you do need to try it on your own. You also need to study your notes. You do have a test on Friday. We have tutoring here, so I'm going to go ahead and put tutoring here as a reminder. Math 1 tutoring. It's virtual at 3 p.m. And you do have your test here. Math 1 test. And you need to make sure that you submit work. Of course, you can submit work early. Any questions? I'm going to pause to give you a chance to write. All right, warm up. It says simplify. So you're going to multiply these two binomials. You can use the FOIL method, FOIL, or you can do distributive property twice. F stands for first, so that's these two. What's x times x, excuse me? Okay. Outer is these two. What does that give you? That's plus x or 1x. Inner is these two. What does that give you? 2x. Plus 2x. And last gives you what? Plus 2. So now I combine like terms. Which terms can I combine? At the x and the 2x. When I combine these like terms, what do I get? 3x. So this is going to be x squared plus 3x plus 2. And this is my answer. Any questions about that? So now I'm factoring here. When you factor a trinomial, you look for GCF first. There's no GCF other than 1 for all three terms. Okay? Now, since it's a trinomial and this is a number other than 1, it's a number that's greater than 1, we're going to multiply the first and the last together to make our T-chart. What do I get when I multiply 2 and 9? 18. And the sum is going to have to 9, positive 9. So positive 18, positive 9. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me a positive 9? But when I add them, positive 18, but when I add them, I get a positive 9. Yes. 6 and 3. So I got positive 6 times positive 3, which you're right. When I add those two together, I get 9. So those are going to be the numbers I put in the middle. So for a problem like this, when there's a number here other than 1, you're going to bring down the two numbers on the end. That's 9x squared, and 2 is on the end, plus 2. These are the two numbers that we're going to use in the middle. To get a positive 9x, you have to have plus 6x plus 3x. When I add this together, it gives me 9x. So now I have 4 terms, and I'm going to factor by grouping. So that means I'm going to find the GCF for the first two and the GCF for the last two. What's the GCF, greatest common factor, for the first two terms? 3x. 3x. So we take out a 3x. What can I multiply times 3x to give me 9x squared? 3x. 3x. What can I multiply times 3x to give me 6x? 2. Plus 2. Okay. Now I'm going to look at the GCF for the last two. What's the greatest common factor for the last two? 1. It's positive 1. And so what can I multiply times 1 to get 3x? 3x. 3x. And what about 2? 2. Okay. So now when I get to this step, what do I do here? Yes, Josiah.
You take the two numbers on the outside and put them in the one parenthesis.
Okay. Very good. So these two will go in the parentheses together, 3x plus 1. And then beside it is the binomial that they both are being multiplied by. And so this is completely factored. It didn't say solve. If it says solve, you set them both equal to 0. But since it says factor, you just leave it as two binomials that are multiplied. It's important to put them in parentheses. Without the parentheses, it would not be the right answer. Please do not forget the parentheses. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. The last one, a line y equals mx plus b passes through this point 1 and 6, and it's parallel to this line right here. What is b? Okay, so we're gonna find b. What is the value of b? All right, so we're gonna substitute. We have x and what? Y. The slope is already given. If it's parallel, the slopes are the same. So the other line has a slope of 4 because the lines never touch each other. They have the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. So to find b, we're going to use y equals mx plus b and substitute the information that's given. What are we going to substitute for y? 6 is equal to what for m? 4 times what? 1. Let me close this parentheses. And then we got plus b. Now we're solving for b. So that means this is 6 is equal to what here? 4 plus b. Now what do I do to get b by itself? Subtract 4 on both sides. And what does that give me for b? 2. So b is equal to 2. Any questions? All right, I'm going to pause for the calls. Okay, so let's take out the axis of symmetry sheet. All right. Did we get to number 3, or was that just my last class that we got to it? It was the last class. Okay. Yeah, we just got to the first one, right?
Yeah, we only.
All right. Sorry. I don't know how we get ahead in that class, and we got a bathroom break and everything else in there. I don't know. I was like, I don't know how that class moves fast. I don't know what we do differently. I don't know. It's probably me. I got a video to see what I'm doing different. All right, here we go. Okay, so here, the first thing that we're going to do, just like we did up here, is we're going to label our A, our B, and our C, okay? So let's write that in. I want you to try it on your own first before I tell you what it is. This is a quadratic function. I need you to label your A, your B, and your C. I'm going to pause to give you a chance. Please try this part on your own so at least you'll know, okay, I don't know how to do that part. All right. Our A, what's our A in this problem? It's -1. What's our B in this problem? -2. And what's our C? 1. So now we're going to find our AOS, our axis of symmetry, and we're going to find our vertex on this side, okay? So the formula for axis of symmetry is what?
-b/2.
Divided by 2a. Good job. Okay? All right, so on the top, this is already a negative, right? So we put the negative there. What are we going to substitute for b?
-2.
-2. And then on the bottom, the 2 is there. What do we substitute for a? -1. Okay, so on the top, what's minus a negative?
Positive.
It's a positive. So we got +2 on the top. And what do we get on the bottom? -2. So x here is equal to what?
-1.
-1. So the equation for the line, the axis of symmetry, the line that cuts the parabola in half, the equation for it is x is equal to a -1. That means that the line crosses through x on the x-axis. So see, look, to graph x is equal to -1, you find -1 on the x-axis. This is where it is, and you draw a line through it. This is the equation. X is equal to -1. That's the equation for this line. If it's over here, what would be the equation for this line?
+4.
X is equal to what?
+4.
+4. Okay? So these, even though that's the answer, that's how you write the equation for vertical lines. Okay? Now we're finding the vertex. Your x value is -1. So now you got to figure out what your y value is. Any ideas as to how you figure out what y is? Yes. You very good. You're going to plug this x value into the original equation. So we have y is equal to x, -x to the second power minus 2x plus 1. So let's substitute -1 every place we see x. So this is going to be, negative is already there. In parentheses, we have -1 squared minus 2 times -1 plus 1. Any questions about that? Okay. So let's type. Put it over here. You lost the sheet, you can write down in the notebook. All right. So let's plug this in, okay? Watch how I type it in because this is going to be important. You're going to have to learn how to type these in correctly. And if you type it in wrong, your answer is going to be wrong. So we got negative here, parentheses, -1. It's so important that you put this in parentheses because we're going to square -1, not just 1. Okay, it's a big difference. If you don't put that in parentheses, then it's just going to square the 1. It's not going to square -1. So please put negatives in parentheses there. Then square it, -2 times, put it in parentheses, -1 plus 1. And what do you get as your answer there? 2. You get 2. Okay, so this is y is equal to 2. So your y value for your vertex is 2. So now the first thing we're going to do is graph our vertex. So we go -1 and then up 1, 2. This is our vertex. Is our parabola going upward or downward? Downward. How do we know it's going downward?
Because A is negative.
Because A is negative. Okay. So now I'm going to choose I'm going to do this side. So I'm going to choose an X value that's on this side and plug it in to see what value. So let me go with the one that's directly beside it. So this is -1, so I'm going to plug in -2 to see what I get. So instead of typing in -1 here, I'm going to type in -2. So this is a negative, parentheses, -2 squared -2. We're substituting -2. Then we have plus 1. Type that in. Make sure you substitute -2 this time. And what do you get? 1. We get 1. Get 1. So this is going to be, look, it's going to be -2, go over to -2, and 1. So that means on this side, because remember, this is the axis of symmetry. Mm-hmm. So it's symmetrical. If this is 1 here, it's 1 on. Yep, it has to be 1 on this side. All right, so let's do the next number. Let's go over and let's substitute a -3. Okay, so let's do -3. A negative, parentheses, -3 squared -2 parentheses -2 plus 1. What does that give you? That gives you -4. So you got minus. How'd you type it in? You type it in right? Oh, I didn't. I messed up on that one, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go instead of typing it over. To how if you ever want to get back to entries, you see I didn't really type that in. If you ever want to go backwards to what you previous type in, you press the second entry button and it'll keep taking you back to the previous whatever you typed in before. So that's what I do. I type in second entry and then I go and correct what I did and then press enter, okay? And go to accidentally press the that one. See again, I didn't type it over again. I'm just gonna go back and fix what I did and then press enter. And it's -2. Okay. So you don't have to type everything back over again. You can press second entry and that'll take you back to the previous one. All right, so this is going to be -2. So you got here, you go over to -3, 1, 2, 3, and go down 1, 2. So remember, if it's symmetrical, this side is the same. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that means how far is it over? 1, 2, 3 over this way, 1, 2, 3 over this way, because it's symmetrical, and that's your U shape. This is your AOS here. So now we're writing our domain. Our domain is talking about our x values. Okay, so when you're talking about your x value, you're talking about how wide the parabola is. Look, it's going to keep getting wider and going on forever and ever and ever. So it's always going to be real numbers for a domain. Notice how this one's real numbers. It's either upward or downward. It's always going to be all real numbers. This is the symbol for all real numbers. Your range is talking about the height, how tall it is. Okay, so your height for this, it starts at this number right here. What number is this? This is as tall as it goes. Positive 2, and this arrow goes on forever. So it's positive 2 to the negative infinity. So your range is from 2, well, negative infinity goes first, right? So we got negative infinity to the 2. So put y in the middle, and it's less than equal to, well, no equal to with infinite signs. Less than, then less than equal to. So if you can't see that, let me write it down here. It is negative infinity because it goes on forever. Negative infinity is smaller than 2. Y is in the middle to 2. So the symbol that you use is going to be less than, equal to. You don't use equal to for infinity because it goes on forever. Okay. Now let's do the next one. Anybody still writing? Let's try this one. Label your A, your B, and your C. All right, so what's your A? -3. What's your B? -30. And what's your C? Very good. Okay, so now I want you to write the formula for axis of symmetry. Write the formula. Do that on your own first. The formula for axis of symmetry, please. All right, what's the formula for axis of symmetry? -b/2a. All right, I want you to substitute and see if you can find axis of symmetry on your own. For axis of symmetry, what did you substitute? We know we have a negative here because the negative is in the formula. What do we plug in for B? So we got -30 on the top. We got 2 as a part of the formula. What do we substitute for A? -3. Okay. So on the top, what do we get on the top for our numerator? +30. And what about the bottom? -6. So our final answer for axis of symmetry is what? -5. So it goes through -5. So our equation, bless you, our equation is going to be x is equal to a -5. That means it's a vertical line that goes through -5 on the coordinate plane. Bless you. All right, so let's do our vertex. What is our x value for our vertex? -5. Okay. So how do we figure out what the y value is of our vertex? Plug it in. So we rewrite and we plug it in, okay? All right, so this is going to be, we're plugging in -5, so that's -3 times, I'm putting it in parentheses, -30 times, I'm putting it in parentheses, -67. So let's type that in and see what we get, okay? Okay. And what did you get? 8. Okay. Very good. So we got 8 here. Y is equal to 8. So now we're going to graph this vertex. Is this parabola going to go upward or downward? How do we know it's downward? Because A is negative. Good job. So we got -5 on the X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's -5. And up 8. Bless you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So this is our axis of symmetry. All right, that way we can easily, we know it's going to be symmetrical. So we can do this side. This is 5, -5. So let's do -6. Let's plug in -6. So we have -3 times -6. We got squared minus 30 -6 minus 67. All right, what did you get there? What did you get? 5. Okay, so we're going to do -6 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is at 5, then over here, this is also at 5 because it's symmetrical. Any questions? And this is a good U. It's not too close together, so we can do 3 points. All right, so let's do domain. What did I say the domain is going to be for these?
All real numbers.
All real numbers. Okay, all real numbers. Because remember, this the width, and the width is going to keep expanding because these arrows are going to keep going forever. So this is all real numbers. It's going to be every real number. Say again, baby. Go ahead.
Seems like they.
Okay, that's okay, babe. And then range is going to be the height. So the tallest point is right here, right? Which is what number? That's 8. So it's going to go from 8 down. So from 8 to what? Negative infinity. But negative infinity is first, so we put it on this side. It's smaller. So we got negative infinity, the y is in the middle, and then 8 is on the end. So the symbol that we use here, this is less than. We don't put an equal to sign, okay? And this is less than equal to. Okay? Any questions? Are we sure there are no questions? Okay, the others I do want you to do on your own. Are we okay to do those on your own, or do you need to see me do another one? Another one? Okay, that's fine. All right, you gotta pay attention because some of you that are asking for another one, I'm not 100% sure you're paying attention. So please make sure that you're paying attention. Kirsten, you okay? Sit up, baby. Number 6, yeah, I can do that one. All right, so first step is to label your A. I'm gonna leave number 5. It is very similar to what the ones we've already been doing. I'm gonna do just 6 because guess what? 6 is gonna be similar to 7. Okay, so I do want you to try those on your own. So I'll do 6. That's a perfect one to do. So we're gonna label our A, our B, and our C. All right, so let's do that out loud. What's our A here?
1.
It's 1. What's our B?
6.
And what's our C?
0.
It's not present. It's 0. Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to do our AOS over here, axis of symmetry, and our vertex on this side. Okay? What's the formula for axis of symmetry?
Negative B over 2A.
Very good. Negative V over 2A. Good job, y'all. Okie dokie. So we have negative on the top, and that's a part of the formula. And so what did we plug in for B?
1.
No.
Oh, no.
6. We plug in 6. And then we have 2 on the bottom. What do we plug in for A?
1.
1. So we got times 1. Are you okay?
Yeah.
So on the top, what does that give us?
Negative 6.
On the bottom,
2.
2. So when we simplify that, what is that going to be?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. So the equation for your axis of symmetry is going to be x is equal to a negative 3. Any questions about that? Hatcher, are you listening? Do you understand? Okay. You seem disengaged, so that's why I had to make sure. All right, so what's going to be my x value for axis of symmetry? Negative 3. So now we got to find our y. How do we find the y? Substitute. So let's rewrite. Y is equal to x squared plus 6x. What are we substituting? We're substituting negative 3. Okay. So let's type that in. See what we get. Clear. So this is, we got parentheses, negative 3, and we are going to square that, okay? plus 6 times negative 3. Are we good?
Yes.
What does that give us?
Negative 9.
Negative 9. So this is negative 9. Okay. All right, so let's graph it until we get. We're going to graph the vertex, which is negative 3. 1, 2, 3, and then go down 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right here, okay? And this is our axis of symmetry, right? That way it'll be easy to graph, right? Okay, so now I'm going to look on, I'm going to do a point. Is this going to be upward or downward parabola?
Downward.
Oh, this is upward. How do we know this is upward? Because A is positive. You see, this is a positive one. Okay. All right, so this one's going to go upward. So this, let's choose a point that's on this side. I keep choosing a point that's on the, I don't want to confuse you by choosing another side. So I just keep doing the same side, even though it doesn't matter which side you use. So this is negative 3. So I'm going to substitute negative 4. Okay, so let's type in negative 4. So we have parentheses, and if you don't have a calculator, it's calculated inactive. You just do it on paper and you do order of operations, okay? So parentheses, what did I say, negative 4?
Yeah.
Negative 4 squared, then plus what? 6, and then we have negative what?
Negative 4.
Oh, negative 4. You see how I did that the last time? Sorry, y'all. And what does that equal?
Negative 8.
Negative 8. Okay, so we got negative 8. So go over and then up 1 from there. So if that's the case, this one's that, then we do this one. Now, do you see how little that is?
Yeah.
That's why I got to do another point, because that's too little.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over again. That one was negative 4. Let's do negative 5, okay? So let's plug in negative 5. If it was spread out more, then the U you can kind of see. But since it's so close together, we need to do another number. So we're going to substitute negative 5. Then we got squared plus 6. We got negative 5. Okay, times negative 5. All right, so now what does that give you?
Negative 5.
That gives you negative 5. All right, so we go over to negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is negative 5. And then down, what is that, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's better. So if this is 2 away this way, then it's going to be 2 away this way also. Because remember, it's symmetric. You see that? And so this is a better U shape. Okay? That's a good sketch. Any questions? So what is my domain here? What's my domain? That is
all real numbers.
All real numbers. And remember my domain is how wide it is. It's going to keep getting wider forever because these are arrows. That's how wide the parabola is. The range is how tall it is. Okay. So how tall is it? Where does it start?
Negative 9.
This is negative 9 down here. So we got negative 9, and it goes from negative 9 to what?
Positive infinity.
To the positive infinity, sideways 8. So put y in the middle. This is less than, equal to, less than. Remember, do not put an equal to beside an infinity because it never ends anyway. Any questions? If you need to see that bigger, this is actually saying negative 9 less than, equal to y less than positive infinity. Okay, I do want you to try the other two on your own. Are there any questions? Okay, please, let's do those now.